Ooh, that's quite a few people. Hi, everyone. It's always this weird beginning when you check all the people getting connected, not being too sure if it's connected, it's not connected. That's nice. Nice to put your camera on, John. Actually, if other people do want to put their camera, it's quite nice. It's nice to see faces around and knowing that you are, well, I'm sure you're behind your camera, of course, but it's always nicer to see some smiles. Very nice to see you guys.
It's just nice to see just you, Diego. I mean, it's enough.
Thank you, Rachel. Rachel, you've done too many of these today. That's enough for a month.
No, don't say that.
Hi, Singapore. How are you?
I think Singapore is pretty okay, Daniele. Well, as you know, I update you quite often, but it's not the most social time we've been in. Virtually social, but that's it. So I think we're quite happy to have some good rums to help us, go through the day and the evening. It's quite nice. Charlotte, can you remind me how many people we are expecting tonight, just to know pretty much when we start?
I think we're expecting maybe around 30 people. We have 25 right now, so feel free to start within like the next minute or so if you guys want.
Yeah, maybe the next 2-3 minutes, it's all fine.
Be recorded as well, and we will be posting this on whiskey.sg next week. So if you know someone who's missing the masterclass, just let them know that this will be posted on whiskey.sg.
Lovely. Thank you very much. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Obviously, it's going to be a very good one for a few reasons. The first one is that we're going to try really good stuff, as those Hampden single cask and the one that we're releasing for 15th anniversary are quite phenomenal. Secondly, it's because we have Daniele with us, and it's always quite fun when Daniele is around. So you can expect a geeky long one. As usual, I think we'll be running for a good hour and a half, and let's see if we can clock up on time. And the third one is, well, thank you very much for being here with us to celebrate that 15th anniversary with us. It wasn't exactly supposed to be behind computers. It was meant to be maybe a little bit more physical, welcoming you all in our bar that we're supposed to reopen for the occasion pretty much. And I guess it's just being delayed and a little bit postponed for now, but I'm sure that we will see you very soon. But yeah, very happy to have you all around to celebrate with good rums. I think this little spiel was long enough for some more people to connect. And I think we're pretty much ready to start. Daniele, maybe you want to just introduce yourself. I'm pretty sure that everyone knows you from now, but it's always nice to have a little refresher.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm curious to know who was in front of the screen last time we spoke about Jamaica, or last time we spoke about Claren. So I am Daniele Biondi. Pleased to meet you. For new new people, I worked for like 10 years now, more or less, with Velia, with Luca Gargano. I'm sure you know the guy you heard about, and I mean I was always been in charge on rums with Velia. So Velia is not only a bottler, but is also an importer and distributor in Italy. I mean, Italy is quite a big market for rum, quite major market for rum. Also because of Velia, because Luca started in the 90s to bring, you know, Dominican Republic, Cuban rums, you know, Italy's South Europe, so it's more Latin than other countries in Europe. So that's why in the 90s we started with more Latin rums, what are called Latin rums, and then Luca always explored around. So was the first to bring Agricole, so the French Agricole rums to Italy. And then when I joined Valier was like 10 years ago. I also brought my previous experience that was already Barbados, so it's more British islands. And so I also brought some contacts and some rums to import from Barbados, from Jamaica. And in more or less in that period, Luca already started to do own bottlings. I'm sure if you are here with some bottles of endemic birds Hampden, it means that you know a little bit our old stuff, maybe the bottlings, you know, of old Demerara in early 2000 or late 90s already. And then, you know, Caroni, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And then, you know, when I joined, I also brought more Jamaica, more Barbados. We started going to Haiti for Claren. We spoke about that like a couple of weeks ago. And we love to explore many different kind of rums, many different territories, you know. Rum is still the highest potential, for sure. The highest potential spirit. If you want to explore, you know, and think diversity and, you know, try to search what is good around the world, you know, because I think it's a never-ending category, you know, rum, or better to say sugarcane spirits in a broad sense, are all over the world. There are still a lot of moonshiners, still a lot of great stuff in plastic tanks, you know, and never bottled and never labeled. And so this is what we do. So apart importing and distributing, we also create our own project. And Hampden is one of the last crazy things that we did. So some years ago, just to introduce what is Hampden, how is our relationship with the Hampden estate, Jamaica. So some years ago, together with La Maison du Whisky, Valier created this new company. Is called La Maison N-V. So it's 50-50 also in the in the name. And now in this new portfolio, actually there are all the rum brands created by Valier on one side, and also a lot of crazy whiskeys. I'm sure you know that Maison du Whisky developed, and so now are all in my portfolio, and I have the hard job, you know, to sell these good liquids all over the world. So that's why I am always in contact with Diego and with Maison also in Singapore. And today we go deeper and deeper up to you. They told me you have 2 hours. It's a good limit. It's always good to limit me in you know, when I speak about Haiti or Jamaica. Hi Jay. So we will speak about Hampden, which is a good way to speak about Jamaica, which is a good way to speak about rum in general and the history of rum, because Jamaica was the most important, you know, country long time ago, also now, you know, more or less. And Hampden is one of the most historical distillery in Jamaica. And also I'm happy because today we don't do the base products of Hampden, which I love, but today we do like the single casks. So lucky guys, you have these liquids in front of you. I have a coffee because it's still midday. And that's it. I mean, this is also, I changed some charts of my crazy presentation exactly for today. Also, yesterday I had a chat with Jamaica for today. I mean, going deeper in some details about the marks, because you have 5 good rams, right, in front of you. Yes, I hope so. And these good rams are very old, so very wise versions of Hampden Estate. But today we will go deeper in what the marks are. Okay, so feel free to ask any geeky question, any technical stuff, because I think I have an answer. So today, first of all, I share the screen so you see beautiful images and not my face. Also, I have a lot of new videos directly done in Jamaica by my friends there. And so I want to show some of these videos. So today is going to be a little bit experimental. Don't kill me if something doesn't work. Okay, so first of all, you have 5 guys in front of you, but it's interesting, especially for who of you is a collector. I hope you drink this stuff, but I also hope that maybe you buy 2 bottles, one to drink and one to hide and forget for ever and ever, because as you know, these these limited products are very good also to keep it close and to see what happened in some years. I don't know if you like collecting, but interesting to know that you have 5. But last year, so it was I think September, October, if I remember well. We developed, we asked Hampden Estate some casks to do these bottlings. So we did 1 or 2, it depends, cask for our top markets. So UK, Germany, Denmark, France, obviously. For France, we did more than 1. Also for Italy, obviously. And so this is the total 18, 23 we did in total, if I remember well. And so again, if you are collectors, you have 5, but you still miss 18, to bring around. Not very easy, because when we do this kind of super limited releases, I mean, we normally sell in 3 seconds. So I hope people drink it. And so it's not very easy to find these bottles around, but happy that you have 5 of them. Not so frequent, to be the opportunity, I mean, to have the opportunity to make a comparison tasting of these 5 of them.
Daniele, just this little question. There's a nice background. There's your nice voice as well. But these people, well, all of us, we have our nice 5 samples in front of us. When do you advise that we can pour maybe our first ones, or like start smelling? Should we do it now, or are you advised to wait a little bit longer?
Well, exactly. As you know, I do very short introductions to but it's, first of all, you have 5 high proof and super, super good in quality. So rather than making a long introduction as always and then the tasting, Diego, I follow you. You can start, pouring now, just not to do like all of 5 of them in 15 minutes at the end.
No, for sure. What I would do, me personally, and what I'm doing in the comfort of my house is just pouring to the two first one, which one would be the first one that you
Yeah.
recommend pouring, and just for them to open up because they're very, like very high alcohol, and just to start having a little bit of a
Yeah,
of
exactly.
rum
The first,
flavor in this office of mine.
So I don't know what you see. That's the point. I don't know if show me one sample, Diego, so I understand what you have on
Oh,
your
I packed,
label.
so being like our dear customers got really the beautiful stuff. I got mine, like not in a, like it's really, I'm recycling some stuff, so I just know that the liquid is right, but not the sample per se. Does anyone has the 5 samples? So we've got the way I thought we might do, so there's like three OWH, right, including
Yeah,
the
exactly.
15th
We have,
anniversary.
that's the
I think
point.
we should start with these ones, yeah.
Obviously, yes. We have
So
3 OWH, then we have 1 LFCH, and then we have 1 L-Rock.
so yeah, exactly.
Obviously, I will start from OWH because it's the lightest mark of the 3. And I don't know, let's start from, again, what you have on labels. Just show me so I know.
Yeah, so sorry, we've
that's
got,
fine. Wow,
yeah, perfect,
that's
perfect.
cool. Who made this? Bravi.
Man, very nice, huh?
This is Maison du Whisky, Well, look at the quality of the Bravi. I love that. So let's start from OWH. You could start from, let's say, Blackbird.
Blackbird.
662.
662 it is.
I don't know why, because it's nice bird. And also it's 59, so maybe it's a bit lower than 61, the other two. But very easy to choose one at the same time, It's a comparison tasting for sure. Let's do the 3 OWH before, and then we do LFCH, so the 9 years.
Yeah, and for those who can and have like 3 Glencairn or 3 glasses, me personally, I'm gonna put those 3 OWH first because I really think they should be tried side by side. It's the best.
Yeah, if
way
you
to
have
do
3
it.
glasses, I love the idea. I agree completely, because today is gonna be for you, not for me, but it's gonna be cool to make a comparison. Consider that the 3 are OWH. I don't know if you are familiar with marks. If not, it's the purpose of today, don't worry. OWH is the lightest formula, the lightest marks, we say in our world, of the 8. So in Hampden, they produce 8 different Hampden, white, 8 different liquids, come out from the still, because they produce different Hampden at Hampden. Okay, this is very important to understand as first point of the tasting. And so one of, let's say, formulas, these marks are identified by these kind of acronyms, okay, that are normally are the initials of the names of the master distillers that created the formula themselves. Okay. I'm going to show you now, but OWH is the same, is one formula. So you are comparing, if you do the first 3, you are comparing basically the same rum, exactly the same stuff when it was white, when it was unaged, okay? But, with different evolutions due to the different barrels. It's very interesting today, I think, because they are all 8 years. Okay, so you are drinking 2012, because we bottled in 2020, so 8 years.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, I hear you like Star Wars.
Oh,
Jesus.
Jean-François, maybe it will be a bit longer for you, but if doable, can you write your question in the comments in the chat, and I will read it out loud for you if you want.
Okay.
vas-y. Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay. No, because I'm with Guillaume, so. No, I have a question. The Hampden birds, each of them was made for a specific country, specific market.
Yeah, we dedicate the single cast to the markets. Yes.
So the 662, it was done for which market?
You have. So we did 2 for Singapore. Then I think one of the 2 is already here. Somewhere. So there's no more existing. It's no more in stock. Diego can answer better than you about this. The other 4 you have. So 1 from Singapore and the other 4 from France. So who is lucky of you, I mean, to see the real bottle, but I'm going to show you later, can see specially selected by Maison du Whisky for the French market. Okay, but it's normal that since Maison du Whisky Paris is Maison du Whisky Singapore, I mean, it's the same company. It's normal that Singapore managed to get some bottles from the French allocation, let's say. Okay, and this is an opportunity because normally France doesn't sell these jewels to anybody. Okay, if you try to buy, they kill you like this. But you know, since Singapore is Maison du Whisky, you have the chance to try these liquids. So that's why I said at the beginning that is in Italy we say more unique than rare to do a tasting like this, because normally other countries they get 1 cask, and so the people in Denmark they have 1 only to drink, and people in UK they have 1 only, and people, you know, in Belgium they drink 1 only. Okay, you have this opportunity because of Maison du Whisky. That's the point. Okay. But later I show you precisely the label in a better resolution. No, let's do it now. Easy. So, share the screen again. Zack. Okay, so you have LFCH and OWH. So these are it's big enough, right? So you have, I think, I hope, if I didn't copy and paste in a bad way, you have this guy, which is 407, the number of the cask. And what is important is what is written down here. So OWH, this is the name of the formula, the name of the mark, 2012. These are some.
Daniele, this one is the only one that we've realized was, well, the 487 eventually was wrong in your file here, because for us the 487 is actually the L rock, is the owl.
Okay, that's what we said before starting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's start from OWH. You should have. Sorry, it was my mistake in my file. Don't worry. So you should have this one, which is a 667. You should have 669, and you should have 662. Okay, so all the 3 are. That's why I said let's start with Blackbird, which means 662 on the label. So this is the name of the cask, obviously. But what is important is OWH 2012. Consider that these are my files that I received from the agency of the labels. So nothing of this is real. It's just a mock-up. Okay, so sorry for any maybe misunderstanding. What Diego says, it's real. And so because you have the bottles in your hand. Anyway, maybe let's start from the 15.1, which is the blackbird, and then we can compare with the other, OWH, so the lizard cuckoo and the chestnut-bellied cuckoo. I'm not an ornithologist, okay? I know about ram. I don't know about, not a lot about Jamaican birds, but the idea behind this this range was to, let's say, to highlight the uniqueness of Jamaica and the uniqueness of Trelawney. So what means Trelawney? Trelawney is a region in the northern Jamaica where Hampden is located. And it's very important to understand Trelawney, because Hampden could not be Hampden if it was not in Trelawney. And Trelawney is a very wild part of Jamaica. And so for this reason, we always, immediately when this is my first chart in my presentation of Hampden, and can you see the, oh, sorry. So can you see this one, right?
Yes, we can. Yeah, yeah.
You
You can make it bigger if you do want as presentation.
Okay.
We can see. Yeah. Good.
Okay, so immediately the second one is the map. Okay, very important to speak about Trelawney. Trelawney is the Grand Cru, let's say, of Jamaica, because this area up here in the north is super wild, as I said, full of sugarcane, and it's like to say Bourgogne, I don't know, for France, you know, for wines. Or like Tuscany for Italian wines. So it's recognized as the most important area, most important terroir, let's say, for rum production, because it's very wild, it's very full of life, full of natural ingredients that influence the identity of Hampden. And so that's why we made a tribute on for these single casks, talking about the birds. Okay, it's just an excuse to highlight the endemic birds. Means in Jamaica there are also endemic and indigenous, let's say, indigenous butterflies. There are still crocodiles there. I mean, it's really an enclave. It's really an area of Jamaica that is still very, very wild. And so all the products from Trelawney are very interesting because are, you know, representing the heritage of Jamaica. So as always, I show you a little bit of the history behind. What is interesting is that Hampden is date back 1753, so it's incredibly old as a distillery. And today we will see some crazy images, like the background of Diego. You know, there are some images that you can't find in any other distilleries in the Caribbean, because they still produce like they still produce rum like a couple of centuries ago. So the style and the process of production of Hampden never really changed over the centuries. What is interesting in this map is the 2009. 2009 is the day when Hussey family purchased the distillery after many changes, many troubles, you know, in the ownership. So they finally purchased the distillery, and also they started aging for the first time. And so that's why we are drinking 2012, because 2010 was the first moment in which actually they started aging. I don't know if you know this guy, Hampden Rock 2010. This one, for example, is the oldest Hampden possible, is an L Rock, so another mark of 2010. So I don't know if you are familiar with the history of Hampden, the distillery. But I mean, you are there happy drinking the first 3 rums. So I assume I can go deeper and deeper in the history. Okay. Then maybe I will be curious to know from you your first, impression on these rums. But let me show you what means OWH. Let me show you what we are talking about, because it's not so usual, it's not so, sometimes it's not so easy to understand Hampden. So let's go into the distillery. The plant is, again, in the middle of this wild area. So it's never really changed in the last 250 years. So it's a very interesting properties. This is the colonial house of 1750s. Is the Great House is the name. That's why maybe you know some bottlings that they also dedicated to the Great House. Now is, I mean, this was the mansion of the owners in the colonial era, and now is like a visitor center. The distillery also is very old. And let's go to understand a little bit why this crazy distillery exists from 250 years, but they never aged till 2009, 10, let's say. And also they never launched a brand, because maybe Hampden Estate as a brand, so with the official packaging, exists only since 2018. Okay, also because of the influence of La Maison du Whisky. So what happened basically is that in all our travels around, all our exploration, we get more and more close contact with the new family, the new owners, and so finally we managed to create this relationship that brought to the creation of the official brand that, again, they never had for 250 years. So what they did, that's the question, what they did for 250 years before aging and before bottling. What they did is very important to understand your rums today. What they did was to produce rum, white, so not aged, and to sell rum to the blenders in England. Okay, Jamaica was an English territory till 1966. Now it's independent. It's still, is still partially related to England, but is an independent country. But till 1966, it was part of the Commonwealth, and before from part of the Empire, the British Empire. So distilleries. Today there are 51 distilleries in the whole region. In Jamaica there are 6 today. But if we go back like, I don't know, 100 years, to make an example, in Jamaica there were more than 100 distilleries, okay? And in the whole region, probably there were thousands of distilleries. So the diversity of rum was much, 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 much bigger in the past. And going to Jamaica and going to the British territories, you can see also Barbados here, you can see Guyana, and you can see Trinidad. So these 4 islands, they were the most important suppliers of white rum, sold in bulk, in tanks to England to allow the blenders in England to produce their own blends for the Royal Navy. Okay, I don't know if you know Passers. Passers is the Royal Navy, one of the most important brand in the Royal Navy style, which means that the government, together with some blenders and brokers, I mean, it was a big business at the time, big trade. The government was the final customer, basically, the main customer of these blenders, because the government had to give rum to the to the navy, to the soldiers. This was a tradition date back 1740s till 1970s. Okay, that British Navy used to drink rum, and most of these rum drunk by the Navy was Jamaica, maybe together with Guyana and Jamaica. Okay, and Passers actually is still existing as a brand, but again, it's not a distillery; it's a blender. If you love whiskey, it's not different than Johnny Walker. I don't know, Chivas or Ballantine or J&B. I don't know, blenders. Okay. Lambs is another example. This is this is interesting. This is the big flagon, the big packaging of the Navy at that time. This is also interesting to understand. For example, these guys, they were buying from Guyana, the Merarm is Guyana, okay, and buying from Jamaica. At the end, the brand is the same, okay, but they were used to have in the market blend from Jamaican rums and blend from Guyana. Myers, maybe you know Myers. Myers is very interesting today also, because at that time Myers was a blender, but also a broker, and Myers was in Jamaica, was not in England, was directly at the source. And these distilleries, you remember I said Hampden produced 8 different Hampden, and if you go 10 minutes from Hampden, driving the Jeep, you know, you have Long Pond. They produce 9 Long Pond. You have today Worthy Park producing 4 different formulas. You have Appleton producing many different formulas, and so on. So in the past, with hundreds of distilleries producing a lot of different marks, can you imagine the enormous richness, you know, of diversity of rum at that time? And so Myers was one of these brokers specialized in collecting different formulas from different distilleries and reselling to England. Okay, and this is a nice image of a catalog of 1920. This is geeky, but I'm sure you love it if you are here listening to me. For example, if you want, we can jump with the time machine this day, 14th of July. Oh, 14th of July, yeah. 14th of July, 1928. We take, you know, this catalog, and basically we can buy a Hampden 1928, 1925, and we can buy different kind of Hampden and different kind of Long Pond. Look at that. This STCE, for example, is a mark, is a formula by Long Pond. Okay. This VR is a formula by Vale Royal, again in Trelawney in the north. I don't know, Sea Diamond H or Diamond H. These are 2 Hampdens. Okay, I don't know. There are many examples. EMB, this is a Monimusk. Okay, because these marks are existing from a long time. And today, distilleries, the ones remain, so let's say Hampden and Long Pond mainly, they still produce the same formulas, because basically the business, the main business of Hampden, even now, is not only to sell bottles to me and I sell the bottles to you. The main business is still to produce white liquids, white formulas, selling to the blenders. Now the business of blenders is much less. Also, the Navy is no more drinking. Okay. We are in peace. Well, depend on point of view, but for sure it changed completely the business of rum. Today, distilleries are bottling themselves, okay, like Hampden, but also Long Pond, also, I don't know, Monymusk, also Worthy Park in Jamaica. All these brands are quite new, you know. I think Jamaica is emancipating itself only in the last 15, 20 years for some reasons. Only Appleton is a brand of Jamaican rum that exists from the 50s, okay? But also Appleton was doing this kind of trade before, okay? I don't know if you know El Dorado. So let's jump to Guyana. El Dorado as a brand exists from 1992, but rum is produced in Guyana from 3 centuries. Okay, I don't know. I'm sure you know Caroni, right? Caroni was one of the suppliers of the Royal Navy for sure, but the bottles of Caroni that you know, these are all independent bottlings by Valier, okay? And then many other independent bottlers, they started, you know, trying to get Caroni somewhere, but actually the distillery never launched the brand. I mean, they closed before they ever launched the brand. So that's why all the Caroni you can find around are only independent bottlers that buy this. Today, there are independent bottlers, you know, buying liquids. At that time, was more blenders buying the liquid and blending. It was a slightly different market, okay? At that time was more for blends. Now is more for independent bottlers, you know, doing geeky stuff. So these are the 8 formulas. Now we start to you know, become interesting. So you have 3 OWH, as we said. Then you have 1 LFCH, and then you have 1 LROC. Okay, the one with the wrong packaging. Sorry. Then we selected these 3 marks for the Endemic Birds series for one simple reason, because there is a stock of these ones, and the stock of the highest, the higher marks in terms of esters level, the stock is basically very, very limited / not really existing, because when they started aging in 2010, they aged the lighter formulas because they have more market. Okay. For example, if you know Hampden 8, so not this one, the 8, this is a OWH 8 years. Okay. This guy is LROC 11 years. Okay. So to understand Hampden is always, you know, to understand Hampden in the right way, let's say, it's always good to know which kind of Hampden are you drinking, okay? Because if you make a comparison between LFCH and HGML, it's quite a stupid comparison. They are basically two completely different rums, okay? So you make it because they are both Hampden, yes, but at the end they are completely different rums, okay? It's different the raw material, it's different the fermentation, it's different basically everything that make the identity of the liquid. So now you are drinking Outram W Hassey. So this one and this one, the first and the second, are the two modern marks, let's say. And actually the surname is H, is Hassey, which is the current owners and master distiller. And the reason is that, you know, we are in the 21st century, and the market is a market of brands, not only a trade of white bikes. And so to go to the global market, it's always good to produce something lighter also especially because what is light for a Jamaican guy, normally it's already like a funky medium body rum for us, okay? So they created, after they purchased the distillery, OWH and LFCH. So these two, let's say, are not historical marks, okay? L-Rock is an historical mark. And then when you go higher and higher, they are all very old formulas, okay? Consider that, sorry for this picture, but I love the picture, even if it's quite like this. But this, in Hampden Estate, when you go behind, there is basically the master distiller, you know, sleeping there forever. And these guys are these guys, okay? In this picture, you have actually this George McFarquhar Lawson, and this guy here is the guy that created HGML. Okay, this is to let you understand what these crazy acronyms means, which again is the name of the guy. Okay, normally is H Hampden to identify in 1920s. Okay. Which distillery was, and then some of the other acronyms. To be consistent is very important because the blender in England has to receive always the same liquid, obviously, because the formula of Pastors, the formula of, I don't know, Myers or Gosling, you know, the formula is some percentage of big percentage normally of a light rum, and then some small percentage of the high esters formulas in order to give the different identity of the different blend. Consider that this is less expensive, and this is more expensive, and this is extremely expensive, because to produce the high esters rum, it's very, very long in terms of time, and very, very difficult in terms of ingredients that you have to put. And also there is no market. And so, you know, the price goes super high.
Daniele, there's just a quick question from John, who's asking if do you have any idea what was the first Hampden mark? I think it might be hard to trace back, but since you're a little bit of a historian yourself.
No, I can ask. We can find the information, yes. It's interesting also. First time somebody asked me, who are you? Ah, John, good. Yeah, I can try. Consider that historically, what happened is that, I don't know if there is an answer, John, because maybe I can tell you the oldest of these 8, but if we go deeper, maybe in the past there was marks that now are disappeared, okay, maybe for commercial reason or for some other reasons. So, but it's interesting. Luca is quite an archaeologist, you know, and so I'm sure he has more information than me in this. Luca is always on all the books. But historically, in general, it's interesting to know that Hampden and Jamaica always produced funky rums. So always produced full body, full flavor rums. And this was a kind of guideline from England. In some way, Jamaica has always been funky. Trinidad has always been lighter. Actually, Caroni is lighter body, right? The fermentation is slower, distillation it's in column, so it's different. And Barbados has always been very balanced, also today. And Demerara, Guyana, has always been sweeter, because in the tradition of Guyana, they used to put sugar also in the barrel during the aging. This is very interesting tradition. But coming back to Jamaica, again, they were super funky also long time ago. Historically, there are a couple of steps that are interesting. One is 1889, just to give you some notions. I don't know if you want. So it's going to be longer today if we start about. Anyway, 1889, what happened is that Germany is very important for Jamaican rum, because at that time, Germany was the #1 customer of these funky rums, even more than UK. I mean, rum was going to UK because UK was the mother country, but then Germany was the main customer of the funky stuff. I don't know if you know what means rum Verschnitt. If you search Verschnitt on Google, you see that in Germany at that time, they were used to buy like DOK or very high esters formula, put this good liquid in a white neutral spirit from grain, like vodka. I don't know in Germany what they were distilling in 1850s, but let's say cereals, okay? So pretty bad, to be honest. And they put this funky stuff to give an identity. And so Verschnitt rum was a tradition like blenders in UK. So many people having different brands. And it was the blending way German, right? So in 1889, what happened is that the German government said, I mean, you are importing too much from these English colonies, British colonies, and to preserve the local spirits, as always, you know, the history of spirits is always like this, from Napoleon, also in Martinique and Guadeloupe. Anyway, they raised up the duties, the duties on the imported spirits, like a super high. And so, you know, this was a big issue for Jamaican producers, because Germany, I mean, could not buy anymore, you can imagine. So in late, so 1895, 1896, till 1905, 1906, so in these 10 years, a lot of British agronomists, sorry, they basically went to Jamaica to try to develop a better way to have a super high level of esters in the rum, in order to sell very small quantity to Germany, and so to pay very, very low duties, okay, for the blend. this was existing before, as I said, but if you want to produce high ester rums, it takes a long time. It takes a very, very, very long time. Okay. Now I show you some pictures. So these agronomists, basically, they found a way to arrive to the same result, so super high level of esters, but in a reasonable time to allow the distilleries to keep sales, to keep production and to keep the profitability, let's say. Okay. And so rum is produced like this. I'm going to show you pictures from 2.5 centuries. But let's say in the first years of 20th century, they really fixed like in a more scientific way. They fixed the marks, they classified the zack. They also started making a calculation on the esters. Before that was impossible, they didn't have tools and the technology, to identify the level of esters. So the level of esters, yes, Verschnitt is written like this, almost. I mean, Google can Google can correct you. So that's why Jamaican rum became so incredibly important for the whole production of rum. Consider that in that period, Spanish guys, they came back to the Caribbean. So, the Spanish arrived to the Caribbean as first. Well, the first was Cristoforo Columbus, which was from Genoa, where I live. But everybody thinks it's Spanish. I don't know why, to be honest. No, it was Italian. But actually, Cristoforo arrived there with the Spanish. And the Spanish, they stayed there for a bit more than 1 century in the Caribbean, and then they left. And then British, French, Portuguese, Danish, a lot of Dutch people, they arrived to the Caribbean. Okay. And Spanish came back only in 1850s, right? That's why all the distilleries like Bacardi, which was Cuba, is 1862. I don't know, Matusalem is 1872. Brugal, Dominican Republic, is 1888. Okay, because they basically restarted the production of rum much after, and they started with column distillation, not pot stills like Jamaica, like Barbados, like the others. So they started with column, and because the market to look for was the United States, okay, big country. The whole consumption of spirits was already getting lighter. The early 1900s was like America was the first. Okay, then prohibitionism, so Cuba. So rum exploded in a different style, and all the funky stuff from Jamaica became like no more, no more the global market. That's why they closed many distilleries. Okay. This was the short answer to John. Coming back to the charts. Now, first of all, before sharing, what do you think about my 3 OWH? Who wants to tell me something? First question is, since they are all OWH and all 8, are they very similar, or during the aging they took different directions? Consider that the wood is the same, it's ex-bourbon, but maybe they took different directions in the barrel. So who unmute himself to tell me if you like it. Not Diego. John. I don't know.
I'm in Manila. I don't have samples.
Oh yeah, you picked John, who's joining us from afar, and unfortunately couldn't get samples. Yeah, good one. That was 1 out of 32. Daniele, you're pretty good intuition.
We are in 2. I drink some rivers from Grenada. Why not?
We
okay,
could
so
ask we could ask Jay. We could ask Jay, but I don't even know if he's behind his webcam.
no, exactly. Just to know if they are very similar or very different first, and also if you expect something like this or not.
Marcus, do you want to share your thoughts? Marcus, we trust your palate in general, so I think.
Jay's here now. Jay's back here now. I refer back to Jay.
Well, I don't know where Jay is.
Jay?
He's hiding. He's hiding, but you're wide open. Is there at least one that you prefer, Marcus, in those 3?
Wait, let me see. Both the cuckoos are okay. Both, I mean, is it cuckoos? Sorry, yeah, both the cuckoos are pretty good. I can't see. Sorry. Yeah, I prefer both the cuckoos. The blackbird is a bit off though. I don't really like the blackbird, but
Okay.
the cuckoos are very good.
So at least it answers somehow the question that Daniele was asking, is that even though they're exactly same mark, 8 years all of them, for you the blackbird is not in the same kind of line, right?
Yeah, I think because of single cask, every single cask is a different.
Yeah, exactly.
It changes the liquid differently, and also maybe where the position of the warehouse. I mean, where it's positioned in the warehouse. Yeah, it could change everything.
Yeah, that's the main reason, Marcus. Exactly. So, yeah.
Jay, thank you very much for rushing to your computer. It's very nice, so we can hear your thoughts.
I had to fill up, Diego.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Jay. Yeah, this is the main reason. When you have 3 casks, same age, same marks, and same wood, is the position. I agree. If it's like a lower level, or if it's like the 3rd, 4th level, it changes the temperature, or maybe north exposition, south exposition. You know, it seems so very small. You know, the difference. But consider 8 years. Okay, so any small changes multiplied by 8 years is a lot. Also, 8 years in Jamaica, we always speak about this topic. I'm sure you know. Aging in the tropics, it's very different than aging in Scotland for whiskey, right? Or in France for cognac. I mean, aging is super fast. It's faster and faster and faster. Okay, evaporation, angel share is not 2% per year. That's the devil share. They lose like 8%, 10% per year in Jamaica. So it means that everything happened faster, and so the esterification in the barrel happens faster. So the evolution is much faster than, so 8 years is a lot. That's the point. Okay. So tropical aging is crazy. Yes, it is, and it's crazy also for me, for a Valier, because you know, every year you go there, you have your liquid that you paid at the beginning. That's the problem, and then you wait. So all the cost of waiting, and then I mean there is less 8% every time. I mean, it's so aging is very is a very, how can I say, courageous things to do, especially in 2020s, you know, when everything goes fast. Imagine aging 8 years in the tropics. That's why Valier is the only independent bottler that still age in the Caribbean. Okay, all the other people, they age in Europe. They just wait that brokers buy the white bulk, they do aging in Europe, and all the independent bottlers, they buy from the platform of aging in Europe, okay? Because in this case, the price is different because the platform is losing like 1 or 2% maximum, okay? So different price. And this is also the big misleading of rum, because you can see Hampden 10 years or Caroni 20 years, but it depends, is 20 years in Trinidad or 20 years in England or Netherlands, okay? Is a completely different liquid and a completely different value, okay? So that's why Valier is the only company doing this. We are the only crazy company doing this, because the authenticity, it's the first point for us. And so a Jamaican rum has to age in Jamaica, not in Singapore, okay, or in Scotland. Even if we lose a lot, as you say. Okay, so OWH, I love you, love it. Let's go ahead. You want to go geeky a little bit? Yes, why not? A little bit geeky, let's do it. Okay, so the art of high ester. This is what Hampden does. When I say high ester, by the way, maybe I didn't tell before, they are classified by level of esters. This was the only way at that time to make, brokers and distillers understand each other. Okay, so first of all, the acronyms was painted on the label. Before Excel, before email, the only way to be sure was to paint directly on the label the marks. And then again, the marks are identified with the quantity of esters. So in this way, guys in England could make their own blends with no errors, no mistakes. Okay, so art of high esters. So now I'm going to show you very fast some short videos that these two gentlemen, this is my Zoom of yesterday. Diego, I did the screenshot for you. So all the questions. This is Pepe, which is the guy of the visitor center. I want to involve Pepe more and more because he's a super cool guy. And this is Howard, which is in the distillation team. So I said, guys, sit down 1 hour because I have to understand blah, 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 this and that. So let's go with Pepe, the big guy inside the distillery. First of all, what is important, and they always stress this, is the water. Okay, why the water? Because in the north of Jamaica, in Trelawney, they have limestone. Okay, so like for Italy and France in wine, why is important the terroir? Because the soil is one of the most important things. In Jamaica, they have limestone. It means that the water they have to produce, to ferment and to produce rum is not like a neutral water, like all the distilleries. They use their own water. So they have a spring underground where the water goes into the limestone. He told me for 15 years before before being available on this dam. Okay, so it means that it's very alkaline. That's also the point. So let's hear Pepe.
I'm standing on the wall of
Can you
Hampden's
hear,
Dam.
right?
It starts 2 inches from that side in the clear patch.
Sorry.
I'm standing on the wall of Hampden's Dam. It starts 2 inches from that side in the clear patch right there. Comes around to 30 feet fall in the center
This is
and
all water.
finishes between the mango tree and the bamboo tree The dam is currently filled with lilies and grass on top of the water.
Lilies.
The dam is located at the foothills of the cockpit country. It's fed by 2 spring heads underground. The spring heads are located in the center there, and it's a natural slope from the hills into the dam.
And there is another video when Pepe said, and this is what makes Hampden special. You know, the water. So can you imagine how is important for them, the water? So some information here is very close to the distillery. Built the dam, you know, in 1760s. So just after when they start with distillation, okay. And it goes by pipes. It's pretty crazy. If you go there, you can't believe, you know, how they do it. But they still have some old pipes in stone that bring this water for kilometers to the distillery. It's a nice lesson of history, you know, when you go there. Then wild fermentation. Wild means that there are no inoculation of yeasts. Okay, fermentation is the most important thing, especially for any spirit. Okay, nobody speak about fermentation. I don't know why. Well, maybe because it's not sexy, or maybe because, you know, marketing people of brands, they don't understand anything about fermentations. I don't know, but actually nobody speak about that. So in rum is extremely important, especially in this funky stuff. Okay, to give you an example, a bottle of the most global brand. Don't make me tell them the name. I mean, but you know them. They do fermentations of 18 hours, 24 hours. They just want to transform the sugar in alcohol, and that's it, you know, and distill. So no flavors, 0 flavors. It's like if you drink a Heineken. Okay, there is no any attempt to create an identity through the flavors. Okay, they want to produce like 1 trillion gallons for a cheap price. This is what they do, and so no flavors. Okay, when you go to other distilleries, they do much more. So I don't know, Agricole rum, to give you an example, is 2 days or 3 days, and when you go to Jamaica, can be a week of fermentation. What is important is not only the length, but is what you ferment. So again, most of the distilleries in the Spanish world, in other styles of rum, they just distill molasses, and that's it. Okay, the best raw material for this reason. Agricole, they distill juice, pure juice. At Hampden, since they have to produce different formulas, okay, they can't distill one thing only, because with the molasses only, you can't reach these super high levels of esters. I mean, it's impossible, okay, during the fermentation. So that's why centuries ago, they started adding in these fermentation vats that are open air, so they are oxidated, okay, day after day. They put in fermentation different things. So Hampden is not a molasses rum. Hampden is also molasses. Okay, they have different raw materials. One is molasses, one is what they call acid, which basically is juice, is cane juice, like the normal agri juice. But they leave it there from weeks and weeks. So it depends. Some days, if they need not a lot of acidity, or maybe weeks, or maybe months. Yesterday, Howard told me, no, several months. I said, Jesus Christ! I mean, if you leave cane juice for several months, what happened? But they need acidity. That's for sure. They need acidity in these vats. They also add dander. then I show you what it is. And they also add the mock. So it's exactly what Diego has behind the scary stuff. But let me show you the video, so it's Pepe explaining better than me. And again, they blend. So every marks, just to anticipate the questions. So the new formulas, OWH, LFCH. If you want to drink, the fourth one is LFCH. These two guys are only molasses and under. You remember I told you these are quite recent recipes, okay? And so to make a lighter rum in terms of quantity of esters, you know, esters are the flavors, okay? So quantity of flavors, okay? If you have less quantity, it means that the liquid is more light and glue, easy to drink, okay? So they use molasses and under only for OWH and LFCH. When you go higher, they need all the other kind of raw materials because they need acidity in fermentation. Just to tell you, acidity develop esters. So what are the esters? Esters are molecules of acids, any kind of acids, I mean, there are thousands, and ethanol. So when the molecule of ethanol links up to the molecule of acid, any acid, the new name of the big chain is called esters. Okay, so from chemical point of view, the acid can have the taste of acid, you know, not very pleasant. When you go in the fermentation area, I mean, it's not a pleasant experience, trust me. I mean, you can also vomit, you know, it's super acid. But when they distill this richness in acidity, it becomes esters. And so you have banana, pineapple. I don't know if you ever tried Hampden White. So Ramfire is the name. You have a lot of this banana and pineapple flavor. Obviously, during the aging, after 8 years or more, you evolve this flavor with a lot of woody notes. Okay, obviously. So let's see how they blend.
Daniele, I've got there was a couple of questions that were in the chat, so I think now is the right time.
Yeah.
First of all, Ron did mention that he loves the cask 667, which I agree, it's beautiful. Unfortunately, it's not our 15th anniversary cask. Thank you, Ron, but no, it's very good. It's very good. A question from Mitchell is. And it's true that a lot of the facilities that we see, you know, when we visit Hampden, everything looks very old. Obviously, the distillery is very, very old. And is there any chance that, like, how active do they renew their, like, everything around? Like, do they make sure that everything is kept really afloat, or is there chances that something might fail one day? Maybe there will be a fire, like in Long Pond. Like, is there a lot of risks of Hampden failing?
Not really, because what you have behind, for example, is a sort of bank if something happen. Okay, so no, they have is a very old plant. That's true, but they have many different way to avoid problems. Okay, if they renew the environment and renew the plant, they lose the richness of the nature, the richness of the terroir, let's say, the richness of the environment means the yeasts, the airborne yeasts, okay? So Hampden has to remain old to continue producing these formulas. If they change formulas, I mean, the brokers, they don't buy anymore, you know? So they have to keep the same formulas consistent, and so they have to keep the same process. Okay, so let's see how they blend.
Here we are in the mixing hall. Dam water, sugarcane juice, as a vinegar,
vinegar,
dunder, and molasses put together. It's mixed, agitated using air. It's sweetened to the amount of bricks based on the specific mark that we're making. From these pits, it is then sent to the vats to
of
start
fermentation.
fermenting. And remember, this is natural fermentation, wild yeast that's in the air. So this is this is the heart of the distillery, the fermentation house.
Next.
Actually,
Next.
Daniel, I thought that this could be the right time to ask the question that John was asking. He was asking if, what is the type of wood that they use for their wash back?
Is a
and
local,
also-
is a local cedar, local
Okay.
cedar.
And also, do they sometimes like wash it, or no? The entire idea is always to keep it afloat, or like between different marks, they do like different fermentation, so they clean it.
Alors, yes. First of all, yes, they renew the vats. They have like 100 vats, okay? Because it's very slow. I mean, if it takes 15 days or 20 days or 30 days, yeah, you have to wait, to distill. And so that's why you have to have a lot of vats. And also they renew the vats. Actually, what you have here behind is the result of what they take out from all the vats when they dismantle. They have some organic things that they take out and they put in these muck graves, that you have behind. But I'm going to show you. So this is the fermentation area. Let's go into the fermentation area. It's not like all the other distilleries. I don't know if you ever seen pictures of other distilleries, but this is another planet.
This is our fermentation house in its original form. Inside the fermentation house, we have wooden vats. These vats are made from local cedar, put together in-house by our coopers. Each vats are open at the top, and that is how we get our wild fermentation, our wild yeast to start the fermentation.
Next. So all these vats, and the atmosphere, guys, is crazy, is alive there. The air is dense, it's full of acids. This is another picture. This is bubbling.
Different stages of our natural fermentation inside the wooden vats. So from a live fermentation to fermentation that is almost dead. This one is live, as you can see.
When stop bubbling is dead, they say dead means stop transforming.
This is fresh. Here's another live fermentation going on. From there, I'll take you over to one that's completely dead.
There are, just by the way, there are no other rums in the world made like this, okay? Just you to know. Again.
Live natural fermentation. To dead wash.
Dead wash. It's scaring a little bit. If the Minister of Health go there, I mean, and kill all of them. So what happened is that you should know, to understand better, that there are two kinds of fermentation. That's the main point of today. Okay, you have the alcoholic fermentation that takes around a week, more or less, because in a week these selected, sorry, not selected, the opposite. These wild yeasts, they do things very slow. If you do a fermentation of 24 hours, you need the selected yeasts that, like gladiators, they do things very, very fast. With the spontaneous yeasts, they are very slow because they are natural, and so the fermentation is very long. So let's say a week, the alcoholic one. But what they do in open vats is to leave the dead wash, they call it like this, the dead wash there to the, open vats means oxidation. So oxygen oxidate the alcohols created in the first fermentation. And this second process is called acetic fermentation, okay? And develop a lot of bacteria, a lot of other things with the oxidation. And it's exactly in this moment that the acidity goes super high. And so esters, after distillation, esters will be very high. So in all the vats that I show you in the area, basically the guys confirmed me yesterday also. They have in some vats a potential OWH. I don't know. In the next vats, there is a potential LROK. It's like this. It depends on the the mix of the combination, let's say, of molasses, dunder, water, and juice vinegar. So the combination of these four raw materials, and also it depends on the length they leave the dead wash there. And so these two variables make the final marks. Okay, consider that distillation, what happened after distillation, it's quite stupid, to be honest. Distillation is not so influencing the final marks at all, to be honest. Yesterday, the guys told me, yeah, Danny, you're right. I mean, distillation is, I don't do anything. I mean, I turn it on and I turn it off. And that's why the 6 pots still they have there, they are very, very similar. If you go to Appleton, very similar. If you go to Monymusk, if you go to Worthy Park, if you go to Long Pond, the stills are very, very similar, because distillation is not the point of today. Okay, the point is raw material and fermentation. That's why Hampden speaks another language. Spanish rams, they can't explain anything like this because they basically don't develop anything, right? So that's why they always speak about aging, 20 years, 15 years, sherry cask, bourbon cask, Madeira cask, because they can't speak about raw material and fermentation. They speak only about what happened during the aging. Okay. Do you like my videos? Do you want? I have 3, 4 more.
Very nice, yeah.
Molto bene.
From the pot stills, the dunder is then pumped
This is
to our concrete containers.
dunder.
From the concrete containers, it's then transferred to our wooden vats made of local cedar. From there, some of it is reused in the process. The excess is then sent to the fields as a natural fertilizer for the cane.
Okay, so what is dunder? Dunder is the leftover of the distillation process. So at the end, let me take this picture, for example, is exactly the video. So at the end of the distillation, in the pot still, there is still like the fermented wash, with no more alcohol, because alcohol is already distilled, is already run. And so this dander is very rich as a raw material for having acidity again. So all the distilleries waste, they clean, I mean, they put the new wash and they do a new batch, right? In Jamaica, in Trelawney, they don't waste it and they keep it as the raw material for the next fermentation again. Okay, that's why they blend everything together, because it's extremely rich of organic compounds. Okay, last one.
Mixing hall.
Yeah, sorry, this is again the mixing hole where they blend the dander together with the others, as I showed you at the beginning. Okay, so dander is a very important raw material. Consider that dander is even more than molasses in the blend, you know. And then there is this guy that is the fourth crazy raw material, that is the mock. So what is the mock? They use, first of all, they don't use mock in all the marks, because mock is really crazy high of all bacteria and a lot of other organic compounds that give acidity again. Mock is, as Diego said, when they dismantle the vats, at the bottom of the vats, there are a lot of organic stuff there from years. And they also, these important things, they take it and they put it in these, they call them graves. So these holes, and they leave these for years, covered by bagasse, by the fiber of the cane. And this is a bank. Okay, this is something that they use, and they use when they need to do some very, very high ester formula. Okay, there are 3 or 4 of them. Okay, this is also the dander pit. This is another crazy stuff because what they do is again to mix these raw material with a lot of dead yeasts. Okay, but yeast never die, like Bruce Willis. Okay, they never really die. They just go in a dormant phase, and so they need sugars, they need jackfruits, they need banana, they need pineapple, they need it's not the best picture ever, but it's how they do it. Okay, to make the yeasts alive again, to go into the fermentation again. Okay, so it's all about richness and richness and richness of natural ingredients to have this super long fermentation, and so to have high esters. I hope is clear. And then everything is super artisanal. Okay, these guys produce Hampden. Okay, sometimes pictures by the distiller PDF are different than this, but Hampden is unique, and so it's still made with a wooden spoon, blending the raw material. Sometimes it's scary, no? Maybe you spend like €300 for a bottle and say, what is fucking made here? Really? Yes, really. It's like this. Okay. This is the richness. Okay. And then everything is distilled in pot. As I told you, there are 6 pots still very, very similar. They are Forsyths. They are Vendôme from US or from Scotland. They have one from South Africa. But it doesn't matter. At the end, the distillation is always very similar in Hampden. What is interesting, if you want, is to know how this is called. It's called double retort. So they put the fermented wash here. They heat it up. and vapor goes into the first retort and the second retort, and then it goes into the condenser and become the white rum that you love. Okay, so these two guys at the beginning of the distillery, of the distillation of the batch, they are half full, more or less half, of what they call low wines and high wines. Low wines means 35% alcohol, rum from previous distillation, and this is 55, 60% alcohol. Okay, so in this way they manage basically, this is very smart, to do a double distillation in one cycle only. So zack, zack, zack. It's very efficient, very old. This is 1810s, but I mean, they were smart. Okay, so also what these two contains at the end of the process, these two are empty. Okay, but not really empty. They still contain some fat acids, let's say. So some other acids that are very important to preserve and to work with and to blend if you need to make high ester formulas. Okay, so when they ask you like which is the raw material of Hampden, the right answer in some way is it depends. It depends which Hampden. You know, sometimes it's difficult for me if I don't have like 2 hours like today, you know, to explain this, because I mean, people want to know molasses or juice. If you say it depends, they get crazy. But that's the truth. Okay, Hampden, it depends. Then I have other images of other stills, different size. Last video.
That is the elephant or oldest pot,
No more
Blair's, waiting to be placed back at the distillery.
one day.
Here we have the Vendôme. From the Vendôme, we have a foresight at the front, another foresight right at the back, TNT, and our newest pot,
New one.
which is a foresight also. This area is where the elephant will be placed. We have hot dunder running.
Crazy, huh? It's not like this when you go to Puerto Rico or when you go to Dominican Republic.
Daniele, there's Robbie was asking a pretty technical question on the distillation regarding the basically. So you just mentioned that in the retorts it's charged with the low and high wines. Do they do anything with the heads and the tails? Like, do they keep it? Do they sometimes use it into the retorts as well for future batches?
Yes, of course, they cut head and tails, like in all double distillation process.
But do they recycle them? Do they use them for anything, or what do they do with the head and tails?
The head and the tails are mixed with the high wine and the low wine. So basically, the low wine and the high wine are some cuts taken from the head and the tails. So yes, they are reused. Yes, not normally the tails are reused, not really the heads. Okay, because the heads contain some. Yeah, exactly.
John is also asking, at the stage of a dunder, do they do like specific, you know, the way they use their dunder, do they keep track of like what dunder was making an LROK mark, or but do they keep dunder by mark or not? Or dunder is dunder?
No, dunder is dunder. For what I know, we should ask our next time. Here's a good question. Because actually, you're right. Every dunder is different in relationship of what you did yesterday, you know, in the vats. No, I never heard about this. They probably Probably after distillation, the dander, the diversity of the danders is flattened, okay? Because all the volatile compounds are already in the retorts and already in the run. So I think that dander are what remain in the pot is not so different than what you put in the pot before distillation. I don't know if it's clear. Okay. So dander probably they are all very similar. I don't know. I will ask. But dander is using all the marks. Okay, dander is the base. Also, yesterday they told me to think as a small industry. You know, they have to produce and sell. So the efficiency of the process and the costs, you know, of that's why they speak about sustainability, not for marketing purposes, but because actually they do it from 2 centuries in the same way. And centuries ago, they had to keep everything to continue producing because it was a matter of costs. Okay, this is also important. So they always use dander because it's something that if you waste, you lose costs. Okay, you lose, and so most of the decision of these kind of styles of rum were due to the condition of the past. Okay, that's why most of the distilleries closed because they could not keep the same processes, and that's why only 2 basically remain. One is Hampden and one is with Long Pond, still doing rum in this way. Okay, Long Pond, for example, Long Pond, to answer you, they got a fire 5 years ago, and the most important thing when you have a fire is not only to lose the rum, the barrel, and you know, all the equipments, is to lose the vats of fermentation, and is to lose the mock, is to lose all the graves behind you that, as I said, are a sort of bank to keep the consistency of the formulas. Okay. Now the world is a bit changed, obviously. As I told you, they have a lot of OWH and LFCH because the world is more like this. It's a matter of costs. It's very expensive also. So the highest the esters, the highest the costs, but very, very different. Okay, very, very high. That's why DOK or the super high marks, they don't have a market anymore. You know, only Valier can do something like bottling these formulas. But consider that when you go higher than 1,000, or I don't know, we have today OWH, LFCH. L-Rock is still easy to drink. I mean, easy for me and you, not for the normal people, but for you and me are okay. When you go higher, is still good. When you go to HGML, C Diamond H, or DOK, these marks are not drinkable. Okay, again, apart you and me, because at the end, these marks, they never thought and designed to be drunk neat. Okay, we had a discussion with Richard Seal. They said, guys, you are crazy. I mean, to put in the market stuff like this, no? Also is against the heritage of Jamaica because they never done these marks to be drunk like this. These marks was only to be sold to the blenders, just to put like 3% of this crazy in a light something to have a balanced blend, you know. If you drink neat, I mean, it's too much. Then we did it, we did bottlings like this also to enjoy, you know, to speak with you and to make tastings, because to explore the history. But to be honest, the 3, 4 marks, the first 3, 4, 5 marks are very good spirits to drink. When you go high, I mean, you drink and you transform. Your face is like transforming. You trust me. If you try very high esters, you don't see the end of the movie. You know, if you drink it at home, you see only the first half of the movie.
Daniele, Marcus is asking for some secret stuff, so I don't think I need to mention it here, but he's basically asking if there will be some DOK in the future released by us. To be honest, I act as if it's a secret. It's definitely a secret to me. Like Daniele would know, I have no idea. So yeah, let's ask.
So there is such a limited stock that we have never done it. To be honest, we just asked it, but I have to kill you after this information. To be honest, we started asking some samples of DOK 2017, so 4 years, and are very good. You know, my face transformed. Trust me. So something really crazy to drink. But yeah, maybe we will do something. Also because we are the only company that can do it, because we are in relationship direct with the Hampden Estate, and so they can do it, and no other bottlers can do it. Okay, you can see some DOK from other guys like Danish bottlers, but it's white. Okay, they also bottle at still proof. So basically it's a 1600 esters at 86% alcohol. So, I mean, is a joke, you know, it's an interesting joke, but it's a joke. You know, I mean, okay. So this is the history of marks. I have just one more video and then it's done. Then I ask you, what do you think about LFCH and especially about LROC? So last video is my two friends from the lab. Sorry. Okay, this one. Can you hear? Can you hear the voice?
Yeah, I think we can, yeah.
Well, easy to understand what it is, even if Pepe is not speaking warehouse. All bourbon, okay? All bourbon casks. There are no... If they tell you in Jamaica they do Madeira and share and I don't know, and other stuff, don't believe them. We started doing experiments with sherry, but this is another secret information. Don't tell anybody. But yes, maybe some sherry will arrive because we are some years ago we gave them some sherry and we made some experiments. You know, we want to try. But no, traditionally they don't do it. And then last one.
Here we are in our GC lab.
This is the paradise.
All the goodies were stored.
John, let's go there.
Currently, we have Kanisha doing a sample. She's going to do a trace from the GC machine. For every shipment that we send out, we keep a sample. GC machine gives us our
GC is the gas chromatograph.
Ranges, and we have some of the rums that we store.
Just some rum.
Here. That's our good side.
Please. Okay, so the gas, the GC, just you to know, is the gas chromatography, is the machine that tell you how many esters, which kind of esters. Okay, consider that when I say 300 esters, to make an example, this is a count of acetic ethyl acetate. I don't know in English very well, which is the predominant ester in all Hampden. But what really make the diversity formula by formula is the other esters, like ethyl butyrate that bring flavor of banana and pineapple. Ethyl capriolate that brings other flavor. Okay, so when I say 300, it's just a quantitative amount, but it depends the combination of all the esters. Okay, so you can drink 300 from Hampden and 300 esters from Rivers in Grenada and 300 esters from Martinique Agricole, but they are completely different rums, right? Even if they are all 300. So it's just, it was a way to speak between Jamaica and the brokers in England. But at the end, what makes the difference are all the other alcoholic compounds that are the sort of fingerprint, you know, of each formula. Then last thing interesting for you, I think, to know, I promise, is the last information, is that esters are mainly created during the fermentation, as we said today, but esters are influenced by oxygen, obviously, and so also during the aging, the amount of esters grows. Okay, so it's important to know also, maybe for you, I mean, next time you come close to these topics, that LFCH or LROK or all the marks are in that range of esters when they are white. Okay, when you age, especially for 8 years in the tropics, the level of esters grows, obviously, because first of all, ethanol evaporate, and so in the proportion, the other kind of alcohols are more at the end. Okay, just because ethanol is evaporating, but also because during the aging, the rum is a solvent, so alcohol is a solvent, and so take from the wood phenols, and so again phenols link to the molecules of esters, and so the molecule become heavier, and so the final weight of the total esters is heavier. Okay, so that's why you are drinking OWH 8 years, or the first 3, but they are different. Why? Because they had a different evolution in the barrel. And maybe if you make an analysis today, you will see a different level of esters, surely higher than the range of OWH, so more than 80 to give you the precise number. Maybe they are 120, 150, I don't know. Because again, during the aging, the level of esters grows. Okay, so again, this is your favorite, right? No, sorry, 667, you told me. 667, 669, and 662, the first 3 OWH. Then you had LFCH. This is correct, right? Yes.
This
Right.
one I think is correct. I'm pretty sure that I need to check. You guys have better labels, but I don't think that the label for 667 was that right one.
Okay. 296, and then the last one, LROC, is the owl on the label. Okay,
correct,
you have it, and I have a wrong one. So LROC again is the third formula. start to be quite a funky stuff. Is the same of this one. I don't know if you got chance to try LRock 11. This is a bit older. But yes, when you go higher, for example, LRock Ramfire, you know, the white one, is HLCF, so it's the fourth. Okay, and then you go up and up and up and up. Okay, one day I hope we will we will borrow also aged formulas, you know, higher in esters. If you want also, quick parenthesis, in Saturday, I don't know if you are sleeping, because I think it's Saturday at 4 p.m. I mean, this weekend there is a RAM show, you know, Whiskey Exchange, which is a big you know, website in England. This weekend they do the virtual RAM show. I will do a lot of seminars. I'm scared I have to do like 9 in 2 days. I mean, and one is all the marks of Hampden white. So now it's a bit late to ask London to ship you the samples, but I think you can you can click the link and maybe listen. We will speak again about these topics again. But these guys, they bought a kit that Whiskey Exchange they gave us. We brought them, obviously, all the 8 marks of Hampden white. So super interesting, because they are really the the source of everything. It's gonna be crazy, the tasting, because it's impossible to compare. You know, at the end is you have a headache, you don't understand anything, but I mean, it's gonna be fun. Daniele will do shaky boom. Yes, of course, as always. It's my signature. Okay. So, which is your favorite? I don't know who wanna. I'm curious to know if you like the lighter guys like OWH or LFCH or the funky one.
Before anyone replies, the only thing that to me, I found a little bit when I tried it the first time, and I don't know, I'd be interested to know about you guys' experience, but I don't find LFCH in terms of flavors, in terms of like you know, like explosiveness, or you know, I don't think that it's I would have ranked it below OWH for some reason. I feel those OWH are a bit more expressive, in my opinion.
Well, I answer first, then. What is true, I agree with you, and I also wonder years ago about this, because, for example, I found LRock that's supposed to be funkier because it's, you know, obviously there are more esters. But first of all, during the aging, something different than all these tabs happens. And also, I think that it's not only a matter of esters, it's also a matter of all the other kind of alcoholic compounds. Consider that if you have more esters, it means that they left the dead wash there for more days. And during this process, esters grow, as we know, but also aldehydes grow, also superior alcohols grow. And all these other kind of alcohols, they don't bring fruity flavors or banana and pineapple or floral flavors like the esters. But surely they bring body, they bring texture, okay, oiliness a little bit. So sometimes, especially after the aging, you feel that the smoothness of these high marks, the oiliness, in some way cover a little bit the heat, the punch, you know, of the ethanol, and so you feel easier to drink higher esters than lower esters, because they have also less oiliness, and so you feel the alcohol more like this. Okay, if you try now to drink a multi-column rum, to make an example, take any global brand, and they normally are 40%. But if you find something a little bit higher and make a comparison, it's very interesting because they have low esters, but they are much more pungent because they don't have, again, all the other kind of compounds that give the body. So less esters means less flavors, but you can still have the pungency of the alcohol and the heat here, the burning of the ethanol. I don't know if I am clear. But the esters,
No, I definitely, yeah. Me personally, I definitely feel what you're saying, yeah.
because esters
on the texture.
Esters just bring a flavor, like floral and fruits, but the body, I mean the heaviness, is not only a matter of esters level, but it's also a matter of
between LFCH. There's the thing. It's also I almost feel that the body is not necessarily bigger than the WH, at least on these samples. Whereas, for example, the L Rock, in this case, right, is definitely creamier. Is definitely like that. Is definitely like something funkier about it. That L Rock is quite something, I find.
Yeah. There is one note in the chat. Correct. Robbie said correctly that we will make a tasting of probably not all the 8, but just 6. They did it. I don't remember, but yeah, only the funky ones, all unaged. Exactly. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know for the lucky people drinking. I don't know if their faces, after that. Let's see what happens. But it's interesting. Okay, so thank you, first of all, for listening. Thank you for understanding that sometimes, these kind of rare bottles and expensive bottles, sometimes it's not only a matter of age, okay? It's not a matter of the variables of the other styles of rum, the other brands, but it's still a matter of raw material and fermentation. So it's always good for me to create a link, between prestigious and rare bottles and the images that sometimes are scary also to say, this is Jesus Christ, I don't buy it anymore. I mean, if they produce it like that, but this is the richness of these liquids, and we are lucky that they are still existing, some of them, because they are almost all disappeared. And so Hampden, Long Pond, Rivers, this one, or the Claren from Haiti, these rums are still in the past, but to be honest, they are in the future today. So that's why we speak a completely different language, because we just explain how rum was in the past, and to be honest, how rum should still be in the future. Okay, this is our philosophy in some way. Okay, so thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Daniele. I feel there's been quite a lot of questions, etc. So I'm feeling that you guys have asked all the questions that you had in mind. Maybe some of you do want to comment on your favorite expression, or if you want to say anything, please do. But otherwise, I think, well, I don't know about you guys, but I think it'd be time for a nice dinner. I think
nice lunch.
I've had a bit of this of these 60% rums, and I feel I need a little something in my stomach.
You are heroes.
Yeah, we're all heroes here. That's for sure. So thank you so much once again, Daniele. Those videos are really, really beautiful. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, true.
As usual, it made us travel in a time where I believe like most of us haven't traveled for quite some time. So it's very, it was very, very enjoyable and definitely made me want to go to Jamaica whenever it is possible. Yeah, that will be one day.
So
Thank you very
again.
much. Yeah.
Thank you again. Check the RAM show if you want. There are 1 million seminars over the weekend. Maybe you'll find something good to join. Okay.
Yeah. So it's good to know that it's there. It's going to be quite late in Singapore. You guys, if you did the conversion, I think they usually start at 4 p.m. So that's 11 p.m. Singapore time, obviously, and then it goes too much later. But yeah, if you can, please do check it out.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for participating, for being with us. Long live Hampden, long live La Maison du Whisky Singapore. After 15 years, it's very nice to be here with you. And yeah, I'm sure that I will see you all very soon again.
Thank you, Diego. Thanks, Daniele.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.